I'm Uma.
And I mean,
This is At the Movies. It's been 20 years since we've had a Hollywood premiere in Kuala Lumpur, and we're here for the premiere of Baby Driver, which is taking place at GSC Pavilion. But we've got a chance to interview
Edgar Wright, the director of Spaced, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and of course Baby Driver.
As you can tell, we are incredibly excited. So join us as we go and speak to Edgar Wright. Yeah, we're really excited to say hi.
This is my first time in Malaysia.
We're gonna get kind of geeky. Every time I watch an Edgar Wright movie, the thing that goes through my mind, because scripts are essentially blueprints, and so much happens when the filming process takes place. But your films are so intricately composed that I'm assuming those scripts must be as intricate.
I guess so. I mean, there's not really a lot of changes that happen during the making of the movie. I'm not like a big fan of improv, and certainly the action is sort of all designed before we start filming. So I spend a lot of time on the script and the sort of the storyboarding process and the prep process, so that once you actually get onto set, you're just shooting the movie. You're not like standing around coming up with ideas or improvising. So it's all pretty precise, and that's, I guess, the way that I work.
Baby Driver seems to have all the hallmarks of an Edgar Wright movie. After Scott Pilgrim, did you feel the need to tone down your style at all? Because it feels like Baby Driver is a little bit more restrained.
Because Scott Pilgrim is the most Edgar Wright movie we've ever seen, which is great.
Kind of. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is based on a comic book, so I can't claim full credit for that movie. Part of that is me bringing those books to life. I'd say in a weird way that Baby Driver is a more unfiltered Edgar Wright movie in terms of it's completely coming from me and me alone. Scott Pilgrim is a movie that I'm very proud of, that I know a lot of people really love, but it didn't connect with a mainstream audience initially. And I think part of that is because for some sort of mainstream audiences that it was just too out there. I definitely felt like sort of I probably wouldn't do anything like that, exactly like that again. But that's not to say that I have any issues with the movie. I'm really proud of it. It's more just a thing of just having to kind of educate an audience on what it is, which is, so marketing is half the kind of challenge in a way.
Actually, just, the great thing about Scott Pilgrim was how intricately everything worked together, the sound effects and the music and the scripting, and we see a lot of that in Baby Driver as well, which kind of brings me to pop scoring a film, and because it really runs in contrast with that old adage about the score should remain in the background and not necessarily punctuate a movie, but your films just work so great with that sort of pop scoring.
Well, it depends what the movie is. I mean, I think my other movies, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Scott Pilgrim, all have songs and score. And I think actually like Scott Pilgrim and Hot Fuzz, kind of the score is quite dominant too. I think the thing is with Baby Driver, the whole idea is to let the sort of the character is listening to the music in every single scene. So it's completely diegetic. There's lots of other great films that use pop music that I love. Everything from like Reservoir Dogs to American Wife in London to Goodfellas. And then another movie that actually is probably the only other movie that I can think of where the music is all completely diegetic, meaning it happens in the scene, is George Lucas's American Graffiti. This was an idea of doing something a little more like that, where the lead character is listening to every single one of these songs. So every time you hear a song, it's actually happening in the scene. And so it takes on a slightly different tone than score, or even the idea of putting a pop song or a rock song onto like a scene after it's filmed. In this movie, they are listening to the songs, which meant that we were playing those songs on set as we shot the scenes.
Following on the music, with the 2 LPs worth that you managed to cram in there, were there any songs that you couldn't get in or you couldn't get clearance for?
I couldn't get all of the songs in the film on the soundtrack. Even on a double vinyl, it was too much. So there may still be like a second volume of music at some point. I mean, in terms of the movie, there wasn't anything that dropped. There were a couple of things that I cut out for time, and then there were some songs I just flat out could not clear because they were unclearable themselves. They were like songs where they hadn't cleared the samples, and so they were borderline unclearable.
Right.
So it wasn't a case of money, it was like, this song is impossible to use.
And the trailers for your movies, there seems to be every much of a piece. Do you have much of a hand, like the Scott Pilgrim trailer with Invaders Must Die on it, the first trailer for Baby Driver, which had the LP spinning in the air? Do you have much of a hand in the marketing for your movie, or are you very tight on that to keep it in tone with the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky to work with brilliant people in marketing. So the trailers that Sony did for this from within the department, so I gotta say I was really sort of very, very pleased with what they managed to come up with. I'm involved in the process, but I don't physically edit the trailers myself, but I've been very happy with what they've done.
Talk to us about the car chase movie as dance and ballet, working with Paul Mackless and Ryan Huffington. What was that like, choreographing those scenes? And also, having we read that piece about having an editor on set at all times. Talk to us about that.
The idea was to kind of make the entire film choreographed to the music, whether it's an action scene or a sort of dramatic scene. We basically rehearsed every part of it before we started shooting. And that was like a combination of the efforts of the camera department, the stunt department, the choreographer, which was Ryan Huffington. I had two editors on this movie, Paul Mackless and John Amos. Paul Mackless was there on set the entire time. And we edited on set so we could always just make sure that everything was still in time with the music. So we were sort of editing the movie, but we were mainly checking out whether the choreography of the music worked. So that was basically what we were doing. And
what is that like? Because I hear Bong Joon-ho did something similar for Snowpiercer as well, that he had his editor on set and they would look at rushes that evening. And basically by the time the shoot was over, they had almost a complete film.
Well, we still edited for 7 months after we finished filming. But the main thing is you just wanted to make sure that you had it. You want to make sure that you are not missing anything, or that it works, or that mostly that it's kind of like the bits that you're putting in time in the music are actually in time. So editing that on set helped that.
Space was obviously one of the best TV shows ever made. With the kind of golden age of TV at the moment, would everything ever entice you to go back to television, do you think?
I think it would just be about what the material was. People ask me that all the time, but it's not something where I necessarily respond on format alone. I don't go, I must do a TV series. I think of it more as what would I want to spend my time doing? What story do I want to tell? So if something came along and it was that it was a story that would be better suited for TV, or somebody came to me with something that I really wanted to do, then why not? But I don't know what that is at the moment.
Is there anything of the current crop of TV you'd like to try your hand at?
I mean, most of the things kind of exist perfectly well without me. Twin Peaks doesn't need me. David Lynch has got that. I just want to see what he does. A lot of the shows that are really creator-led, I'm happy to just watch as a fan and not kind of get involved.
We were watching The Driver by Walter Hill after catching Baby Driver, and an interesting parallel between both movies, which was I found that both movies are really about people who do their jobs well.
Yes.
The best driver, the best criminal, the best organizer. And what was interesting is that things go wrong when people stop doing their jobs well.
Yeah, it's about people being professional. So I think that in The Driver, the Walter Hill film, Ryan O'Neal lives by a code, and he has a sort of a list of things that he will or won't do. And when those rules are disobeyed, things start to go badly wrong. I think with Baby Driver, it's almost like Ansel's character is like a savant. He happens to be this amazing driver, and he's, great at his job, but it's not a profession that he actually wants to be in. And I think what the movie is about is him realizing that he doesn't want to be that guy, and he doesn't want to be in this business anymore, and he would rather live a relatively normal life with Deborah.
Yeah. Edgar, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me tell you what you made me do. You made me dig up my iPod.
Yes, I still use mine.